Hello, and thanks for joining us again on the program Conversations. Now, my name is Elizabeth Abai. I often wondered a lot about certain things. One of them is man's hierarchy of needs, as postulated by Maslow. Now, I found out that right at the base is food, clothing, shelter. Directly on top of that is safety need. And I thought about it. I said it wasn't just for vain reasons that it was kept there. It is because it is imperative. When you have eaten, clothed, sheltered, the next thing is, am I safe? Yes. Security, it's important. And personal security is extra important. Why I say this is a lot of times we easily point accusing fingers, play the blame game. Who is responsible? What did I do wrong? Sometimes we even say it's not our portion. And then we play careless game and bring insecurity very close to our doorsteps. Now, today we will be looking at personal security. How do we expose ourselves, to certain things that could lead us to certain things that we may not like, occurrences, and how do we even go around ensuring that we are properly protected, we're properly guided in terms of being safe. Well, it's conversations. That means Elizabeth will not be speaking alone because it's not soliloquy. We have people seated here who are joining me having this stand. One of them is an expert. But let's start with the lady. Introduce yourself, really.
My name is Chichi Ofo. I'm a journalist.
Okay.
Good morning, viewers. My name is Agoro Audu, a lawyer by legal practitioner.
Okay, and I know that for some reasons he's had a bit of relationship with security, so he's better, guided to direct us better. I have a lot of questions I'll ask you, but before we get to that, something happened which my winning team, like I call them, were able to put together, reenacted for the purpose of these conversations. Let's see this on security.
The average person wants to be financially stable. Not a bad aspiration, but how extreme can we go to achieve this? For some, very extreme. This is the story of a young woman who was horribly a victim of those who chose to take these measures. On the 15th of May, Nneka Leonard planned on attending the memorial of a friend who had recently passed away. She was traveling from Lagos to Port Harcourt by bus and unknowingly fell into the clutches of kidnappers. While passing through Owerri, she noticed there were men and women on the bus, and after some time, she felt a hand cover her face and she passed out. When she regained consciousness, she was tied up in a forest at night in the middle of nowhere. She had been abducted along with two other women from the bus. Out of fear, Nneka started to scream.
Help! Somebody help! Help! Somebody help!
And 6 men appeared. They began to beat her up and stripped her naked.
Jago, come on, I get clothes now, fast now. I will say do like this.
Come on your clothes, you know the
Come on, this get clothes, I mean.
Come on your clothes.
Do it, won't do sharp. No,
As the
understand.
time no day. Open that now, open that clothes now. Come on your bra. Come on your bra. You know.
Oh, but if you don't come out this guy, I will not tear your clothes.
Come on that clothes. Come on that clothes.
They mad me.
They Chris. Come on town.
They then told her to call her people. She managed to get in touch with her family, but tragically, this was not the case for two of the other women. 2 days later, the kidnappers informed her and the last woman that they had people who cared enough to pay their ransoms.
Omo, you get luck, say your people like you. I swear you get luck.
I say,
You get luck,
So in the middle of the night, a man on a motorcycle came and carried the two women away. The man then left them alone on a deadly road. Because they appeared unkempt, as they had been beaten up and were naked, no one approached them except for one man who offered to help. This was how Nneka Leonard's life was spared. Regrettably, this gruesome experience is not unusual, so it can affect anyone out there. Stay safe and always be aware of your environment.
Wow. The story of Nneka, it may have been reenacted, but I can assure you it did happen. But we couldn't have followed it happening, so it had to be reenacted. But, something that got me, thinking on that story was she entered a public bus and it wasn't on the road. It wasn't in a park, it was on the road. How do we still do that with what is going on? Just wondering.
Okay. Well, the issue of personal security, before I even comment on that, I think it's very essential that we get to understand that concept very well. Even though it appears general, it appears common, it's not very common as it is. Personal security, there are these measures you take to deter, to delay, and to prevent any harm or any immediate danger and that will occur to a person. And this is much more concerned with the individual. So before you look at and to say personal security, you have to look at yourself first, because you are you and you are you. And before you now think of what other people can do or your neighbor can do. So that is just essentially what personal security it's all about. What do you do to prevent any harm that will befall you? Harm from different perspectives. So in view of the story that we have just watched now, I think what came to my mind was this problem of, not, going through designated areas or transport system. This, when you go to designated motor parks, and, these are the first steps you take that will actually go a long way to reduce the risk that you face along the way. There are so many, and perhaps permit me, please, even as we discuss this issue of personal security, you have to understand the matrix or the problems or the challenges we have currently across the country. Generally, there are denominators of security threats across the country.
Different ones.
From different
zones.
Yeah. And within the Abuja and suburbs and the towns and immediate towns and Abuja, there are particular things that we have to understand as individuals. So even as we move, as we carry out our activities, we should be able to understand that these are things we will encounter: kidnapping, terrorism, thefts, housebreaking, activities of these cult groups. These are issues that there are so many, illicit arms that are all over the place. So the individual has to understand that, look, this is the environment I found myself. So I think it is, so when you are conscious of what threats that you anticipate around you, you should be able to
prepare yourself.
You prepare yourself.
From what you're saying,
yes,
a lot of times we have this, I think, religious attitude to things. We keep saying, oh, it's not my portion.
Yeah. I reject it in Jesus' name.
Oh, yeah, you got it. So it's not your portion. And you think those things happening in the news, every day we listen to it, it's not, it happens only on television. No. They're real, Because I recall a particular person who was robbed. She will often go out to, have her early morning exercise as early as 4:35. And when she heard about insecurity and all that, she probably stepped down a little bit to 5:30.
Okay.
And even when she was mentioned, it was mentioned to her, reminded, she said, no, it's not my portion. Nothing will happen to me. So every morning she goes out, does her thing, and then comes back. And consistently, she always felt, I have always gone and I've always come back. So it's not about me. It happens to other people.
It can't happen to me.
Exactly like that, until one fateful day, she was attacked by two boys with a knife. And it wasn't even that early anyway, like 6:30. It was almost daylight. So she got attacked on her way back. And then since that day, she learned her lesson. I don't know how we can inculcate this in the minds of people, because the truth is, when it comes to security, it's something that you cannot predict.
Definitely. You can it can happen to you even in your house. It can happen to you in your house, just for you to be prepared. If you're alone in the house, maybe bring in an artisan to come do maybe electrical work or plumber or all those stuff. As a lady, maybe if you're alone in the house, try to dress very well. Maybe wear a jeans, a tight top. Don't close the door of your sitting room. Make sure everything is okay in case there's any attack. That's another form of always being prepared, in terms of how prepared are we,
Right. You're right.
in curbing all those things. So you have to always be prepared. I think preparedness is the most important thing. Have it at the back of your mind, as your subconscious. It is not safe anywhere. Even in my home, I can be attacked. So I have to make steps. How do I?
Perhaps let me use this opportunity to clear some issues. One, you see, this religious beliefs and what have you, I think we get it wrong. The Bible itself tells me that, look, you should be wise.
Be diligent at all
Be
times.
diligent, be wise.
Yeah.
I believe the Quran will have similar provisions. God has given the knowledge. He said, I created you in my own image, and I gave you my own sense, my own distance. So that is the first step. So when you start talking about, in the name of Jesus, this, I reject this. What are you rejecting? What are you rejecting?
Rejecting attack.
So when somebody tries to immune himself with some false, imaginary things that clearly you should know that. What are you talking about? Like we were saying, once we clear that from our mind, that look, these things happen and they are definitely to happen, because if you are careless, you will get the repercussion.
On a daily basis, it happens.
Yes.
When you talked about the Bible and protection and all of that,
Yes.
a particular story in the Bible came to my mind when it was said Jesus was tempted. At a point, the devil told him to jump down from wherever.
Yeah.
He told the devil to get behind him.
behind
He
him.
refused to jump down.
Yes.
Because he knew at a point it is not about you being God or being child of God. It's you having your sense. Like you said, you mentioned about bringing people to repairmen, artisans to work with you. In the first place, if I have to bring in an artisan to my house, there has to be a second person. If I'm living alone, a lot of people in Abuja live alone.
Yeah.
If you live alone, if your compound has security, tell the security man to hang around. And you made a very valid point. Don't lock your outlets.
Yeah.
And go extra mile. As soon as you open door, for me, if I open door for somebody to come into my house, that key, you use to turn the door. If it's on the door, I remove it. It goes to my pocket. That is, even if or not, I am alone. And then I hear some people call people on the phone, said, go home. That wire is there. My daughter is in the house.
Yeah,
What are you
yeah.
thinking about? The people that will kill you are people that know you. Because
Very well.
the person that made that statement, I said, why are you asking an electrician to go to your place when your child is in the house? He said, he's been working with us for 10 years. I know him very well. He's not a stranger that will hurt you.
At all.
It's always people that you know.
That is
You
true.
know?
And I think another thing I wanted us to look at is, this personal security. For us to really understand, maybe let me compartmentalize, let me segment it. The home security, the security in your home, your environment. Now, the workplace security. Now, the other security, that is where you go out, either to meet up with people, gatherings, your movements, general outside. So when we take it from the home, what are those general precautions that we ought to know? As we discuss this, criminals are listening to us.
Definitely.
So there are some basic things that we need to look at from when you are talking about the home. You are talking about the physical security measures you take, even in your house. What are these measures? Yes, one thing one would say that, yeah, security is a very expensive business. No, there are some basic things that you have to put in place. Your home environment. Who are your neighbors? What is the sensitivity of the area you are living in terms of movement of people around you? These are things that you have to be very conscious of. What security measures are you supposed to put in place?
What kind of security measures?
Measures, physical
Yes,
facilities
I was going to
measures.
ask.
Yes. The thing is, you have to talk about fencing, lighting, movement, guards and what have you. But take note, these are not things that you will look at. You have poor people too. There are basic steps that neighbors take too. You are talking about, in fact, living in an environment, maybe in a rented house where I have neighbors. What steps do I take? Of course, you have to know that those neighbors, you're already one family.
Do you really know your neighbors at times?
That's the question I was going to ask.
Do you know your neighbors at times?
That's
Do
the
you know where
question
they
I was gonna
work?
ask.
What do they do? What kind of business do they venture into? You might not know your neighbors. Seriously.
But
Like
the
where I
thing-
live, I don't really know my neighbors that much. I wake up in the morning, I go to work, and I come back at night. So
I think that's the first thing we should actually remedy.
I think it's, yeah,
If
it's
you
very
move
important.
into a place,
It's very important,
imperative.
yeah.
If the authorities that be are listening, I think they should make it compulsory that the landlord or the lawyer or the
Caretaker,
caretaker,
whatever.
whoever that is responsible, the property manager, should ensure that details of neighbors are circulated within themselves. And if there's a new person coming in, they should also make efforts to introduce the new person to the older one so that they know, including what they do for a living. I'd like to know if I'm living with a swindler, and I'd like to know if I'm living with a criminal. If you tell me you work at so-and-so place, my curious mind could decide to investigate a little bit.
That's true.
And then I'll find out that you're not exactly what you say you are. I keep my two eyes on you. And then if something goes wrong, you're the first suspect.
That's true.
I could also be the investigator, just as I'm doing for other people. So I think we should make extra efforts to get to know our neighbors. And sometimes it's not easy. If I walk up to your house now, hello, I'm your new neighbor. I live in that building. My name is ABCD. You could just tell me, and so what? Please get out. So that's why I'm saying that the property managers should come in and ensure that any new person, information, at least tiny details of the person, is told
To each
to
and
us.
every person.
Exactly.
We're still talking about the security in the home and in the environment where you are staying. You see, I give an example. You are coming into your compound. Like you say, we are staying in a rented house. There are signals you give. Take note that the criminal, the person that wants to harm you, to harm your person, he must have done some what we call background studies
Check.
on you, on your movement, because he selects his targets.
Exactly.
He doesn't just attack anybody. So there's something about you that he wants. And so there are simple measures that you take in the house. You may have signals as to when you are coming in, you are driving in. If I horn, if you open the gate, don't just open the gate. If I horn twice, it means there is danger. If I horn once, or if I flash my light, maybe I'm running from something, from somebody. Or if you are coming in, it amazes me, I've had the privilege of knowing of incidents that happen. The man comes to the house, he finds people loitering around his house, and he just goes in like that. And that brings me to the point that, look, we have to be what? Personal security
conscious.
is more of alertness.
Yeah.
Being
Security
alert,
conscious.
knowing your environment very well, being conscious of the activity. That's why I said sensitivity of your area. Being conscious of what is going on in your environment. Because in everywhere you are, whether it is highbrow area or what have you, there are certain things, indications you see when there's something unusual. Like the story you said about the lady that, said she keeps going
It's
this
on my
thing.
abortion and all those
Once
stuff.
you have a routine, that's the first step to...
Okay, routine. Not
Once
to
you have a
check
routine, that's the first step to exposing yourself to danger.
That's true.
Wow.
Once you have a routine,
Yeah. Some people
have-
start following you up.
so once you
Keep
have a
tabs
routine,
on you.
you have definitely
Wow.
already exposed yourself to danger. Of course, communication. Let me say something very, very interesting here. We are talking about personal security. Cyber crimes and what have you. You know, you have situations where somebody calls you. Personal security does not mean just to harm you, to collect your money, to do everything. Somebody calls you, Mr. A, oh, Mr. Agoro, I've heard about you. I have good business for you. You start wondering. The person gives you a rundown about yourself. Let me tell you some of the common things they do. You see, church bulletins, for instance. Church bulletins. You have where they paste the telephone numbers of elders in the church, paste from the pastors, everybody. From there, the man gets the information. You go to attend a conference or a meeting, even a tribal meeting, even your staff meeting
your
in the
Google
office.
account.
You write your phone number. Your phone number, this. This gets, somebody has access to it. You have so many examples that have happened. He gets access to it, he calls you. Then you become gullible. The man knows my name. He has my number. He does this. So these are some of the issues that we have to be conscious of. And come to think of it, some of these people, they just scramble numbers, do guesswork. And because he has a true caller, it gives him who you are, your name. Yeah. And there he goes. So you become, susceptible to all these things.
So the person knows me very well.
Very, very fundamental. If anybody calls you and start giving you these things, allow him to do the talking. Don't allow him to take the initiative, interrogate him. The moment you start interrogating him,
that's
all.
True. Someone called me some months back. I said, hello, Chichi. I said, hello, who's this? He said, Chichi, have you forgotten me? It's Oga something. He called one name. And I said, Oga. I said, sorry, I can't remember. He said, do you still live in that house in Asokoro? I said, why are you asking? He kept on talking and talking. I just found out that I'm sure this guy, yeah.
All right, so Inobong just joined us. Inobong, what is the problem?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Sorry I'm late. Speaking of security, I had one at home. So my security guy, I didn't tell him I was leaving early. He's used to me not leaving early. So he left the house and I had like 2 vehicles blocking me. Yeah. So what she said about neighbors, I don't have their numbers.
This is interesting.
And one of them went out jogging. So definitely I am at the mercy of looking for the security guy or waiting. So the little bits delayed me. So the man came and he said, oh, you should have told me. And I'm like, I don't have your number. So, and I'm not even on the neighbors WhatsApp group. Because I'm like, I always said there's no need. I never felt the need to. So yeah, that's why I am late. And
so when you go back today, you're going to include yourself in your neighborhood WhatsApp because it's really important.
It is.
Things could be happening. That's the only way they can alert you.
The funny thing about even the WhatsApp was this: it was created after we had a robbery incident in our compound. Prior to that, the whole tenants didn't know themselves. You just knew someone's car, so you know that this is the permanent car. So you come out, oh, I know this car, and that is all. We didn't know our names, we didn't know where we worked, we didn't know anything about anybody.
I just said
after
that
we had
now.
a robbery incident, so the robbers brought us together.
Oh.
And everybody came together, got vigilante, got the WhatsApp group so we can communicate. And me, I did not see the need to join the group. So I told them they shouldn't include me. So
imagine.
That is it. However, speaking on security and Lizzie, I have plenty things to talk about.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Security.
So, coming from like a business perspective and all that, I don't know if there is a need to talk about security in the business.
Yes, definitely.
Of course.
Because I had a meeting with my staff. Like before I opened my business, I had to go to other people who were doing the same thing. And I said, how do you ensure security? Like, what are the major steps? Oh, camera. Oh, this one out. Oh, that. And I realized that it's not effective. So if you have a camera that's, okay, it's connected to your phone, and maybe you have a monitor, I'm here right now. I can't be looking at my phone 24/7. I'm here, like, if I had a monitor, I can't be looking at the screen. So the question is, how do you effectively ensure that security is tight in your office, local business or whatever? So for me personally, I got something that helps. There is something that the Nigerian police does. They do, it's like a biometric check for workers. This is something a lot of businesses don't know. So you go to the Nigerian police, they do the thumbprint, because you know everybody has a unique thumbprint.
Thumbprints, yeah.
So they take their thumbprints, take their information. You don't even need a guarantor and all that. The moment they have your thumbprints, it's like a whole system. They have like an electronic system where they put their contacts and everything. They take the passports and all that, all the thumbprints and all. Anywhere you are in the world, they will find you if you try to steal. So by the time you do that with your staff, and they are aware of the consequences, it is maybe the petty stealing 500, 200, but I don't think anybody would decide to go away with maybe 1 million naira when you understand what is at stake. You often hear people, you know, saying, oh, Nigerian police, this one, that one, that one. The truth is, if they want to do their job, they actually know what they are doing.
Anyway, you know, you do have a point there, but
Yeah.
talking about the CCTV cameras,
Yes.
I've seen a lot of people mount it, and it's just for fancy, and they don't really follow it up. I think that every CCTV camera has a possibility of recording,
yeah.
so you can always record. If you come into your place, it's your business, and you notice at certain time something is amiss, you can call for the recorded materials and go through it. And when you're not even, you know, suspicious of anything, on your own you could decide when you come in to go scan through, you know, spot check what happened, what did not happen, assuming you didn't have time to follow up on your phone. And if your workers understand that you're always on their matter, you know, through the CCTV.
You're on it.
Yeah. If they know, they're going to have to sit up.
Yeah, but I mean, we've
You
seen
know?
so many stories on social media
Yeah.
where workers, especially those that are doing online business, so you entrust your business into someone's hands. So if you're chatting with me, you don't know if I am the owner, you don't know if I'm the worker, and I give you an
Yeah.
account number to pay
Yeah.
money, you will pay. I will supply the goods, but the owner of the business cannot track.
Okay.
So we've had issues like that where workers send personal account numbers to unsuspecting clients and they pay the money anyway. They send product. Oftentimes, it might be their own products. You know, it's like maybe let's say hair, for
Hair. I
example.
wanted to go there.
You know, I can be working for someone. I understand her business, I understand her pattern, and I start my own using her clientele, using all the facilities and everything that she has. So oftentimes, even the worker might not understand why they're having decline in sales and all, because a worker is really extorting customers.
Okay, you
I
were
think
going
the
to say
bottom line,
something.
yes, what I want to say is we are talking about personal security. And the business I mentioned, I said workplace, the home, the workplace, and where you go out. This, how do you protect? Let me just comment on what we have just discussed. One, technology is very good when you talk about personal security. However, most fundamental, most crucial is personnel security. That's another aspect altogether.
Okay.
We are talking about your workers, the people you engage. You see, no matter how good your technology is, no matter how high it is, if you don't have the right people, you know, you can't get it.
Yeah.
And that goes even in your own personal security. We have had situations where workers arrange for the kidnap, for the killing of
Of their
their
bosses.
employers.
Yeah.
Remember what happened in
So
Bobla, that the
what
school
is
owner.
what advice do you give? One, ensure that you vet them properly. And what does this vetting entails? Going deeply to really get background history
Checks.
on this fellow that you want to engage, because you are not just engaging him. Somebody you are entrusting your business, you are entrusting your life to that person. And so very, very crucial, you have to make sure whoever you employ is the proper person, is proper and fit for you to engage to run your business. Of course, in your place of work, you are talking about personal security in your place of work. There are certain other measures that, apart from mounting CCTV and what have you, and personnel, there are other issues, critical issues you have to look at also when you are talking about personal security, because you are thinking of how safe me, my employers will be. Even the setting up of that your business environment or your place of work, the NTA itself. I came in here. We were talking about personal security. When I drove in, they said, go and park at the parking lot. I looked at the vehicles. I said, if there is any attack here, or if they want to, let me park my vehicle where the vehicle I'm coming in will look so unique that they will look for people. Where is the owner of this Jeep? When they come out, where is the owner of this Jeep? I mean, these are some of the measures to take in place. Deliberately, I said, let me go and park this car here because we are talking about. So when we come out, who will be the victim? Who will be the target? Nobody will ask after me. I'm sure of that. So these are some of the things that they are common things, but we take them simple. But these are issues that we. Then another issue I think I want us to look at again is when you go out, even to relax, to meet friends, social outings, and what have you. There are many things that occur now that.
Now you're talking about this. I mentioned about uniqueness.
Yes.
It's really very important. If we go out at certain times, we maintain the status quo of being the regular Joe on the street. You're going out in the night. I mean, if it's really, really that necessary, for you to go out at night, that's not when to go, dress all up, pad up and all of that, and call attention to yourself, wear all your bling bling. You're driving through certain places in Abuja, Lagos, and all over Nigeria that are notorious for security issues. For women, your jewelries are hanging, your wristwatch is hanging. Probably you have 2 phones. One is a younger version. I don't want to say small. It's a younger version. So you won't carry the younger version to go out. You carry the big one.
Definitely.
And you expect to be safe. It's sometimes we call attention unnecessarily to ourselves by the way we move on. You might, the same road somebody will go through and go and come back safely. Another person goes through because of your attitude. You become a bait for them, for the bad ones. I don't know.
And I think there's a topic we had here, a show we had here, and I learned something from it that I have used till date. So for those watching us right now, if you find yourself in an environment, I think not really environment, markets, anywhere that you are not sure of, the people around, but you have your car parked there, before you get to your car, remove your key and hold first.
Thank you.
If it's the one that has the remote, it's easier.
Yeah.
But if you're not sure of where your car is parked, remove your car. When you get to your destination, open the car, enter inside, and lock it.
Lock the door, yes.
That's like the first step. She taught me, and I have used that the whole time.
I have always done that for a very long time.
Before you can now maybe open your bag, get your phone, and every other thing you have to do, enter the car and lock yourself in. It helps,
I
security
do that.
consciousness.
Most times, I'll just throw my key inside the bag. By the time I get to my car, I say, oh, where's my key? I start looking for the key to press.
Because if anybody's going, especially when you don't know the area you are parked, if anybody's going to rob you, while you're looking for your car key, they can just.
And even when in fact, if I go to a grocery shop, after packing everything, somehow in Nigeria they always give us our polythene bags. Somehow, I always go with my own extra bags. That way, I'm able to put everything into one case. It's easier for me to carry. Then I bring out the car key. I ring it to my finger. So when I'm very close and I press, the door opens, I drop in the whole thing on the passenger seat in front, sit down, lock my door. I can begin to transfer to the back. I do the same when I get home. Before I leave my car, the house key is already on my finger. It's easier for me. So, but speaking of security and areas where we have security challenges, again, my people took time and noted where we have, security challenges here in Abuja. I weren't able to go around Nigeria, but at least in Abuja, if you're around here, be careful, don't move in the night, and don't carry big bags when you're within those areas. But let's see it. some of the tips there. If you're within Abuja, the areas you know that are very dangerous, you avoid it. And of course, the phone numbers are there too for different states for you to reach out if you're in trouble or you see anyone in trouble. We also know that generally we have the 122, right? For
Yeah,
Nigeria.
for the Nigerian
For
emergency.
the general.
I think it's 112.
Okay, 112.
General.
Maybe while we are on it, I could just give it a try because somebody was arguing. He said it doesn't work and it works and all of that. So I'm going to call it while we are on and see what goes on. And at the end of the day, 112, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we're dialing 112 and waiting for it to ring. We will take some of the questions. Someone says here, personal security is very important. You have to secure yourself before second party will enter. Choma Stella Ibekwe from Kano. Choma is writing in from Kano, and we'll take one more before moving back. Benjamin from Enugu, your program is fantastic, but add this to it. Home security should be taken seriously by paying them well and stop taking them for granted in the name of paying them salaries. I think that's a very crucial point.
Yeah, very
A
well.
lot of times
Crucial,
we underpay people that really take care of
Domestic
us.
staff, yeah.
Not really security, especially
Security.
the gates, the one that they get, you pay somebody 10K.
No,
You are driving a car, what?
it could be your house.
50 million.
You stay in your own personal duplex, and you employ security. It's a part of your domestic staff. So you're paying him from. It's not that it's a collective thing that everybody pays. So it's your
When we say
domestic staff.
like domestic staff, we mean like
Your security man.
Your
Yeah, it's part of your
man,
domestic staff. Yeah, the security man,
cleaners,
your cleaner, yeah, laundry,
chefs, etc,
yeah,
etc.
your driver.
Yeah, driver. But for the topic we are having now, the two positions that triggers the most are the security, the person who opens the gate and closes and is awake at night while you are sleeping.
Yeah.
In quotes, awake, and your driver, your personal driver.
Yeah.
See, those two people can make or mar you if you don't treat them right.
Your cook too, or your house servant in the house
So-
could do the same.
Yeah, that's what I was like for the cook and the house help. For the house help, it's a bit easier because before you employ them, you would definitely do the medical checks, like run medical checks on them, want to be sure that they're medical fit. The same thing with the cook.
Yeah.
The house help cleaning the house. You can have cameras and monitor. You can monitor their movements, especially when they are living in and they go home over the weekend. You can monitor. The chef, the same thing, especially when they are living in, they can go home. You can monitor what they are doing. Even the food, you can monitor. But if the driver is not living in, you can't monitor what the calls they make after work. If the security man is living at the security post, you can't monitor the calls they make. You can't monitor the people they see when you are not around. So, if the security man and the driver are criminals,
They can connive.
and it is very easy for them to connive,
Yeah.
because driver is providing intel to security man as in regards to your whereabouts, where you will be at the time, where you are, how long you are staying.
That's true.
Security man is telling the main gang, you're not at home, this is where you are, you can operate now. And with the chef and the domestic staff, they can easily tie those ones up. It's easy. So the security and the driver are like two people that
Without
need to be treated right.
maybe sounding highly repetitive of what I've said earlier, I think we are emphasizing just one point here, that there is a need for us to know who are
We
with
are
us,
employing.
who we are employing.
Yeah.
Now, that is one. Two, very fundamental too. We have to, as individuals, have to be these are some of the principles of personal security which we should imbibe as individuals. One, you have to be very, very, very conscious security at neutral, alert at all the time. There is one joke we used to share, when we were on the other side. We said, don't think it will not happen. Don't underestimate the power of the next person you are meeting. So, alertness, communication, your response, initiative, your resourcefulness matters a lot. You have to develop those areas very well so that before, and another important thing, your quick response to report any suspicious activity you see around you. Prompt reporting. And for every crime to be committed on you, there are always indicators.
Yes.
There must be an indicator. For every security challenge, there must be indicators that is your ability or our ability to see these indicators and respond
To it promptly.
quickly that matters a lot. And that is why I said we have to be at alert. We have to be able to report immediately whenever we suspect any suspicious activity. Even your relations. The people that come to you.
You know, what you're saying is very important because a lot of times we pass information about ourselves without intending to. You know, we are not even, planning on any, just very, very naive. But like they always say, ignorance is no excuse. So naivety is also not an excuse. Yeah. I decide to go to a place tomorrow, maybe Kaduna, maybe Borno, whatever it is, and then I am announcing it to everybody around. Some people get angry when people don't tell them, oh, you were even traveling, you did not even tell me. It's not because I don't like you. I'm trying to protect you and I. If somebody wants to find out information about me, the person may not come to me direct. The person could go to my husband, could go to my children. So the less information we put in the hands of people, the better. Or even we tell them, but we also make sure that they understand the fact that they must keep their mouth shut. You know, when it comes to people, some women claim they are very busy. I'm not saying we're not busy, but I'm never too busy for my children. It's imperative. All my school runs, I do them myself. I don't have to send a driver. We've had instances where people pick people's children. In fact, the other day in Aba, a woman who is even not working, it's very annoying, employed the services of a keke driver, a tricycle, to be doing school runs for her. And then one fateful day, this man had done this for over a year, so she was very comfortable. At first, she used to go with the man. So when she became at home with the man, she would let the man carry her children and drop off and bring back to her. And you're not working. At the end of the day, this man carried the 3 children to the ritualists and they were all killed.
Oh my God.
Oh,
yeah, it was in the news.
Oh
I think
my
that was last year or
God.
so. It's painful, So we should never take anybody for granted. We should never really get so comfortable. If the children were in heaven, they were not begging you to bring them. You brought them, so you must be responsible.
For them.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if you have to send your children to school, please carry your children to the school and bring them back yourself. Let's stop living our responsibilities
Otherwise, you
for
just
other
put them in
people.
a school that is close to the house, so
I
it's a
don't
walking
know.
distance. You
just walk
walk down
yeah.
there, and when they're old enough, they can find a way. But there's no excuse, really.
There's no excuse.
There's no excuse.
You can't 6-year-old, 3-year-old, like that. All of them just wasted.
She left her
6-year-old, 3-year-old, these people are not even big enough. They're primary school and nursery school people.
And she isn't working.
She wasn't employed.
So what's she doing with her time?
That's the lessons we're talking about. Even if you're employed.
What kind of negligence is
Even
that?
if you're employed. I knew somebody who was working in a bank, a woman. When she started making children, she said, no, I'm not going to work in a bank because I want to be mother to my children. And she quickly moved in, took another job. Everybody thought she was crazy. She said, no, I want to be mother to my children. So I think if we begin to understand security the way it is, then it will be better for us. There's another person here is asking us, okay, good morning. Thanks for your program. Please, I would like you to display the safety numbers to call, especially the south-south lines. God bless you. We may not be able to display this here now, but if you go to our Facebook page, you will get it full-time, pasted there, so you can get to a copy on your own. What she said about neighbor, but from my understanding, you're supposed to engage with your neighbor because of other purposes that will happen. May God help us and may God bring peace to our neighbors, our Naira land. Okay, you say you don't know your neighbors. Somebody's attacking you, Chichi. So you must go back and know your neighbors. It happens to me. I plugged my phone in my neighbor's shop and someone went there and took the phone. without the guy's consent and withdrew all my money. Wow, that's really bad. You shouldn't show Benue an emergency number, please. This is from Makodi. He didn't tell us why. Is it that the numbers are not functioning? Okay. God will help us all. Amen. We agree to that. Anyway, let's give our round words. On your own part, your time is up. On a parting note, what's your advice to Nigerians as to how to secure themselves?
Nigerians, if we want to, the first step is for us to be alert at all times. 1, 2, we should be able to quickly report any suspicious activity to the relevant security agencies, and we should learn to know who our neighbors are.
It's
very,
important.
very crucial, very critical. And again, I'm finally sorry, I'm taking so much of our
Go ahead.
Now, you go out, this is a trend I've noticed. You see somebody, drawing attention to yourself, talking on phone here and there. Men particularly, we are very good, especially on social gatherings like that. These are unnecessary. And this is where you attract harm to yourself. So I think essentially we should be able at alert all the time and be vigilant. And don't expect that it cannot happen. Thank you.
So in addition to what he has said, I think we should take our personal security serious. What I mean is the information you put on social media, take it serious. So don't put information like pictures with your ATM card or credit card, pictures with your plate numbers, your address, your pictures with your home address, your children's school. Maybe you can put a picture of them, but not with their school, the name of their school, your home, the street name or the number. Let's just be let's be alert, And I'm sorry to say, let's be spiritual. Sometimes when you pray about these things, it helps you with being alert. Because even if you are busy, sometimes the Lord helps.
All right.
So yeah, thank you.
Yeah, let me just start from what I just said earlier. I don't really know my neighbors that much because I moved into that place not too long ago and all that. And I'm trying to know some of them, but not really all. But I know some. It's very imperative for you to know your neighbors. If it's 1 or 2 persons, get their number. It's very important. Anything can happen to you. It could be that you are sick and now you're alone. Maybe your husband isn't at home, your kids aren't there, no house help. You can call your neighbor. Please, could you just help me? It's another way, or maybe something is happening around your neighborhood. You're hearing a noise somewhere, maybe behind the back or behind you or somewhere. You could call and say, or text or chat or something and say, can you just maybe call somewhere? There's something happening somewhere. It's another way of securing yourself, your neighbors, and all that.
All right, so thank you very much. What else can I add except that we should all pay attention to our environment? If it's not necessary, please don't go out. Curtail your movement. COVID-19 came, we were all locked inside the house and we didn't die. So if it's not necessary, please stay at home.
Also,
if it's necessary, you can
save our numbers, the security numbers we put on the screen. Let them save
we're even going to put it up on our Facebook page. So save the security numbers, try them out and see if they work, and then you ensure that you use it when it's necessary. Please, mind yourself. Don't be that nocturnal. Sit down in your house in the night. All right? We'll see you again next week.
Thank you.
And both of those are living in areas with
We want to talk about rights, there are obligations. I'm not saying that this government is a saint, it's very far from it. But there are things that we can do to make it better, and that's the challenge I'm throwing to you. You don't want to build this nation? I don't know where else you want to go. If I had a choice, I'll come back. When I stand outside and I hear what you have to say about this country that I know that I can die for as one, then I'm really sad because you're young. You have education. You have tools. You have a huge future ahead of you. And you're condemning yourself before you started on that journey. So please don't do that. Please don't.
Stop this senseless killing. All we need is one Nigeria.
I think we have come to the threshold of time when we need to seek for peace.
We need peace in this country. We need peace in Nigeria.
And together, we can pull through.
No matter where you come from.
Hausa, Igbo, or Yoruba.
We cannot achieve a better Nigeria by fighting.
Let us stand together in brotherhood and solidarity and strive for peace.
And not because of their tribal or their religion or whatsoever background.
Doesn't